Hi everyone, I'm sure you know what's coming up. It's the obligatory producer live letter video that Final Fantasy XIV YouTubers have to put up right after. If you managed to not see one of these yet, or maybe you just like to hear the sound of my voice, well, let's get started. My version of the producer live letter coverage will combine the details with the summary to create a more direct experience than what was actually shown in the live letter. Translations were provided on the Reddit Discord by Aluna Minori and Miyuna, as well as live on Twitch by MogMog57. These are unofficial translations, so there's always a possibility for errors, but they do a fantastic job each and every single time. Alright, so 5.2. The patch trailer is out in the main supported languages on the official YouTube website, and a patch date of February 18th was dropped. The patch website was also updated. The big focus of this patch is side content. They want to have more content people can do during free time when they're done with dailies but still have a few hours to go until the static rate meets up. 5.2 will not be a 24-hour maintenance, it will probably be around 6 hours. As I'm sure everybody can expect, there will be new main scenario quests. The new dungeon will be towards the end of the MSQ. It's suggested that you should reserve a day to do the entire MSQ because apparently it will be quite long, but that depends how fast you read. New Beast Tribe. This is actually our first gathering-only Beast Tribe. The Qatari is the first name for the Key Cairn. They originally wanted the Key Cairn in Stormblood, they even started work on it, but they had to focus on the Namazu, and there are no Namazu in the first for some reason that maybe we will learn about. It's within the Raktiku Greatwood in a new location not shown in 5.0. No camp at first, and it will be built from scratch. You need to be level 70 Gatherer to accept. The story will explain why we haven't seen the Qatari so far. They apparently also speak kind of like samurai of feudal Japan, but it's unclear whether this will really be captured in non-Japanese languages. The story will have choices at some point with possible paths. This will not affect rewards nor the experience earned, but it will affect the story slightly, without changing the overall plot. This story not only covers the Qatari, but also the Ronkin civilization. There will also be a new mount. And the mount is the Great Serpent! The people from that side quest storyline might show up during the Beast Tribe story as well. It doesn't seem to have special music, it's one of the standard mount musics that's not the Chocobo music. Next up are the new Chronicles of a New Era quest. This time, the Sorrow of Relic will tell the backstory of the one and only Gaius. The first boss we will encounter is the Ruby Weapon in the Cinder Drift. They showed some footage of this and accidentally revealed that the Ruby Weapon has a mode called Nailven Darkness. And supposedly they weren't supposed to show us that. We can also see the Final Fantasy VII themed menu that mentions when this mode starts. Some of the cast names we can see are Stomping, Ultima, Flexible Paw, Liquefaction, which kinda looks like the World Sand from Final Fantasy VII's English localization, Ravenclaw, and Rubyclaw.
いっぱいいただいております。はい。お。さあさあ。来た来た。お。キャンセルされた。ああ。なんか。やべ、見せちゃいけないもの出た気がする。さあ、みんな今何も見ていないよ。いいね。さあ、バトル中にいろいろ喋るのもよしあしだな。そうやな。これ超盲点だった。そういやそうでしたね。そういやそうですよ。うわ、怒られるわこれ。お、なんだ。うわちょっともういちいち怖い。やべえなマジで。しかも隠せないから。なんだなんだ。俺今一瞬だってモニターの電源切ろうかなと思ったけど切ったところおおそうねこれはもうそうですよいや意外になんかこれズブズブいってるほう早く待ってくれそうねせっかく
Now it's time for the Relic, the quest series for upgradable equipment, which will be in patch 5.25. The quest line is called Save the Queen, Blades of Gunhilder. It will also feature a secret 8-man extreme level trial. There will not be a normal 8-man version of this trial, instead the normal version is a soloable battle during the Relic quest line. Play through the quests available in 5.25 and you'll receive the base weapon that we will upgrade later on. 5.25 will focus on the story, and only the soloable boss needs to be beaten to get your weapon. The extreme trial seems to be optional. Although it will have its own area, it will not have its own level system like Eureka in 5.25. This is located at the Bosia Citadel, a city that was cleared off the map along with Midas Gorlon, but there seems to be a queen of the city and her guards had these weapons. The legatus of the 4th Imperial Legion, Noah Vingubrant, had control of this city. He and will contact us to join the resistance and free the Bosia region. Players must first complete the Return to Evil East quest series. Matsuno, who wrote the story for the Evil East raids, also wrote this story. Now this will continue in 5.35, which will have another instance. It is emphasized that this is not another Eureka. There will be influences, but they'll be very different. 5.35, so not this one, in its map will also have its own separate leveling system, kind of like Eureka. However, the materials for the relic enhancements will be obtainable through different types of content after reaching the story within these areas. So it's not like Eureka where everything was done within the zone. Only the story is within the zone, but the materials will be elsewhere. There will also be at some point something like the Baldesian Arsenal, where they keep the fun elements of Baldesian Arsenal, like using the various actions to fight a big boss in a raid that has more players than an alliance raid, but they don't want to keep it locked behind content too much. This is because of feedback that people liked Baldesian Arsenal, but they didn't like that they had to go through all of Eureka to get to it. So they want the second one to not have such a long prerequisite. Alright, up next, Eden's Verse. The Eden raid is about Reen and how she develops, and it will also be about how she and Gaia, the Oracle of Darkness, interact together. Eden's Gate, the first tier, was purposefully on the easier difficulty because it was the first tier of the expansion with new jobs, new skills for players to learn, all that stuff. This tier will supposedly be more difficult than the first one, and the DPS checks will be tighter. Although this is still from the Savage team, it is a different group of designers than the first tier, so the mechanics should feel fresh and some of them will be new and unique. We also have some Ramuh footage who seems to be blended with Ixion. There was apparently a spoiler they did not want us to see, so because of that they had to hide the UI. There's a remix of Ramuh's theme at the background, there are 6 panels on the side, and a Line of Mercy. They'll be involved in mechanics somehow, and of course there are orbs. It's also mentioned that Ifrit and Garuda might show up together in one fight, and given that they showed up in the trailer, that seems to be likely. They also showed us the new raid gear. Yay!
そうですそうですわからないです。本当？あ、間違えた。うん。安全安全。そりゃそうです。お、なんか落ちちゃう。リンクで。あ、なるほど。
何かなさって言われますね。これいいな、技名も見えねえから。
確かに。いいですね。お、なんだ。
お、さよなら。
お、
さよなら。
高さが違う。
さよなら。
なんじゃこれ。何普通に解いてるんですか。
お、玉が出てきた。
ほうほうほう。
玉が出てきた。
取らずにはいられない2つね。
そう。
なんかこれはでも
拾えばいいんだろう。拾えばいいんだよな。たくさんあるぞ。何個拾っても大丈夫だ。こんなにたくさんあるんだったら妖怪も現れないはず。
わーお。
痛い。
すごいですね。気づけば玉だらけです。
本当だ。さあ、これぐらいにしておきましょう。
そうですね。
ずっと戻してもらっていい。
But not everything is fun and games. There was nearly an hour of the live letter devoted to the sensitive issue of mods and third-party tools. Yoshida is taking a stance. Nude mods are not allowed. They don't want their game associated with nude pictures for legal reasons because some players are using them for things that are often illegal in places such as, child pornography. They don't want naked pictures of Lalafels, or Reen, or any other underage or seemingly underage characters. They just don't want nude mods at all. Please stop. Regarding other third-party tools, he acknowledged that it's difficult for them to define exactly what is or isn't allowed as a third-party tool. They used Discord as an example because it's technically a third-party tool, but obviously they don't want to ban for that. Besides, if they did, people could just use their phones and call each other. Does that mean they would now need to ban phones? And how? It would be ridiculous. They even mentioned that the basic ACT feature of just parsing data to make a DPS meter isn't very different from using a calculator or putting your battle log into Excel and making a VB script to read it. And, it's not technically changing the game. It's more the extra plugins and the triggers that are trickier in their mind. They said they can't ban everyone who uses ACT, and they don't want to scan computers to check for third-party tools because they don't want to get sued by players who live in countries where such things are illegal for them to do. But in general, third-party tools are not allowed. They're just not going to seek it out unless you break certain things that they just can't forgive. And they also said they're not going to make DPS meters official ever. It's not happening, they're not making one. But what exactly are the semi-guidelines that they provided? Of course, as mentioned, no nudes. Please, no nudes. Forget the naked people. And anything that makes the game easier within the game by using a third-party tool. So the example was, there's this add-on somewhere, not going to mention where, that can show ground markers where they actually don't exist. They don't want anything that automates things that are not using direct in-game tools. So there was an add-on that would allow markers to be put on the ground in the game, like the battle markers, the waymarks and signs. And they don't want that to be done using a tool. It should be the player itself doing it. And of course, they don't want it to be used to harass others. If you're parsing yourself, they're probably not going to go after you. But if you're using it to shame somebody, especially publicly, it's the harassment they're getting you for, not the tool itself. But otherwise, even though it's not allowed, they're probably not going to do anything to you because they don't want to ban everybody, and they don't want to scan computers because that could get them sued. So as long as you're not breaking the big guidelines, you're okay, sort of, at least until they change their minds. But because of that, they did make some changes. You will no longer be able to change waymarks while in battle because of one of those plugins. However, in order to make up for that, they've added 2 more waymarks, and there are presets now. You can save waymark combinations as a preset that you save. You get 5 files, and for those wondering about PvP, these restrictions don't apply to PvP. You can still put waymarks in battle in PvP, that's fine. Originally, it wasn't clear whether it was 5 save files per instance or in total. At first, they said it was per instance, but then they showed that when they changed fights, the previous one was grayed out, which would imply it's 5 total. It looks like it's 5 total, but I guess we'll know for sure when it actually gets released, because it was at least translated as both. And the next hot topic. Job changes. Not too many this time. Red Mage is going to get some buffs. They want potency increases to get their DPS up, so Fletcher is going to get a buff. Contra 6 that will deal the same damage to all enemies instead of declining. They don't want drop off on their AoEs. Jolt will get some adjustment through the enhanced Jolt, which will in turn buff for Thunder and for Arrow. We'll see more when the actual patch notes come out. Summoner is going to get a nerf on their dots because they just made them too strong. Samurai will get a UI for their meditation stats, which I guess is cool. And then PvP adjustments. Potions are going to be buffed. A variety of actions that they felt were underused by the player base are also going to get buffed. Dark Knight's short cooldown for the Blackest Knight meant that they have to buff the other tanks. And Warrior, home gang will be adjusted because of that, was just mentioned. But they want to make it better in Feast, but weaker in Frontlines. Monk will also be adjusted because right now they're too good in Feast and too weak in Frontlines. Dancer's too strong, it's going to get nerfed. And they want to make the ranged a little bit stronger to catch up somewhat to the melee, but not as much. And their ideal ranged, right now, one job they feel is where their baseline is Summoner. So they're going to bring all the range to be around Summoner level, I guess. And Frontlines matching issues are going to be fixed, this time for good. Alright, so 5.21 is going to have the new Ishgard Restoration. If you remember, 5.1 had Ishgard Restoration, I guess you could say part 1, and that was just an introduction. 5.2 is when the real restoration begins. There are going to be more than 10 stages this time, so it's going to take more time to complete. For those who don't remember, 5.1 had 3 stages, so this one is 10. Yoshida also apologizes for that design decision in 5.1 to allow people to participate in the special fates from other worlds, and also how the long wait times, which were meant to allow many people to gather, meant people who worked hard couldn't actually attend, either because there were other people from other worlds or because they were asleep. While there will still be a waiting time, having more stages should mean more opportunities to actually attend the fate. And now it's time for the new Gathering Diadem. You just entered, there's no vouchers needed. Most monsters are gone, and the few that are still visible will not aggro to you. This is a peaceful diadem for gatherers. There will be items needed for the restoration within the diadem, and there's also a gauge that fills up while gathering, which will allow you to use the duty action. This duty action is used to kill those few friendly mobs left to get extra materials. Different mobs will give different materials. You do need to be level 17, at least, to enter, and yes, fishers can still participate, there will be sky fishing. Later on, they want to make it so if a special phase happens, people can assemble at a specific point to defeat a monster with their special laser, or bazooka, whatever you want to call it, to get those super rare materials. But it was not clear whether that's much later on, or soon, or available, just later on. There's also a new mount from the Ishgard Restoration, and it looks like a Domo mount. There's also the Kupo of Fortune. That's a scratch lotto ticket. It wasn't very clear exactly how you get it, but it doesn't seem like it'd be too hard. And the rewards are slightly random. You scratch a panel to get a reward. Some panels will guarantee second, third, and fourth prizes, but no first and fifth. That seems to be on the left. While others, which seem to be on the right, will give a chance at winning anything or even nothing. They did show that there was a new emote that you can earn from this called Eating Bread, and the animation will change per race. Some will use one hand, while others will use both hands. There was also a new prism called the Temple Knight's Prism, and supposedly there are prisms for the 4 great houses of Ishgard as well. They're also adding new expert recipes, and they're supposedly very difficult. After every move, the situation changes, and so they want to add a skill simulator. But it wasn't ready yet, but it will be for 2.3. Instead, what they've done for now is they've added training recipes that you can buy for 300 gil. This way you can practice your craft without actually potentially losing any materials. They're also going to be adding a ranking system, which will start once again at 5.21, 3 weeks after 5.2. Rankings will be calculated during the first 10 days of release, and the top ranked players will receive special titles. And somewhere in all of this, there's also an apron you can earn. It wasn't very clear exactly which part of this whole Ishgard Restoration thing earns you the apron, or if you craft it yourself. Next up are some crafting system updates. They didn't actually show any of this, but just some potencies will be adjusted, for the actions, maybe a few here and there will be removed. It should be very minor, not like the previous changes at all. Fishing will also receive updates to make it easier to tell tugs apart. You know, small tug, big tug, large tug, legendary tug, all those things. Right now, if you're actually trying to know the exact tug, you're mostly using sound. But now it's also going to have a beep that's going to beep twice when you get a big fish. But most importantly, it will have a notification above the player. It looks like an exclamation point. They didn't go into specifics, but we did see them fish, and to me it looks like one exclamation point, that's really hard to say, is a small tug, and then you get more when it's a bigger tug, which would make sense. Regarding the Materia system changes, you'll be able to meld and pentameld with only one max crafter. You don't have to level them all anymore, just one. And also spirit bonding, which they've told us about before, is no longer going to cause the item to disappear. The spirit bond will just reset to 0%. It does seem to be that I somehow skipped the Sky Steel Tools section, so let's go over that. 5.25, we're going to have Sky Steel Tools. Upgradable tools are back. Aside from the single upgrade from Script Gear, the idea of crafter and gatherer relics that go through multiple upgrades hasn't really popped up in the game since the Lucis weapons of Reborn, which if you remember was Artifact Super to Lucis, 2 upgrades. Well, in this case, yay! Crafter and gatherer relics are back again! Woohoo! The story is that blueprints of historical legendary tools were found, and now they'll be used to help with the Ishgard restoration. The stats still won't beat a fully melded crafted tool yet. They don't have any glow right now, but that will change over the various upgrades. Alright, ocean fishing! Yay! This is Fisher exclusive content where you board a ship at specified times. The NPC is at the docks in Lim Salamanca, and every 2 hours real time, there will be a 15-minute window to board the ship. Once 24 people are on the ship, another one will be immediately available to fill as well. The last boat, if it does not have 24 people, will still leave once the window for entry ends. You can queue as a party or even as an alliance, and this ship is available from level 1. There are 2 routes, one to Costa del Sol and one to Dravania. Each route has 3 destinations it will stop at, and there will be an announcement when the timer is getting ready to move to the next destination. The trip itself is around 30 minutes, including the short but unskippable cutscenes. You can leave early if you want without any penalty though. In the event that you've forgotten to repair or get bait, there is an NPC on the boat to handle all of that. Ocean fishing will get updates in the future, new routes, possibly fishing battles against NPCs and other things. Yoshida also wants to put a fish from some 1.0 cutscene that apparently really struck him inside of here. So, what do you get from all of this? You will receive experience and scripts based on the fish caught. Each fish will also earn points on the boat. High quality means more points, different fish give different points, and yes, time and weather do affect the fish. The fisher with the most points is announced at the end, and you can get fish prints for your house. There will also be a thing where if any one person on the boat meets a specific condition, everyone on the boat will have a chance for a big haul. The color of the sea is going to change. We're almost to the end. Miscellaneous updates. Well, first they're going to have the elegant tombstones of allegory added. There was a post about this already, it's pretty standard. They will also have new game plus chapters. Specifically, it's going to be the alliance raids. The rank is going to be increased for free companies. Right now, the max is 8 or something like that, and it's going to go up all the way to 30. This will give free companies more space in the FC chest, and also be able to hold more FC actions. For those of you who don't know, FC actions are your buffs. They're also going to have a new course in the Leap of Faith gate, and well, just see for yourself. It looks like something, alright. But anyway, with Leap of Faith aside, they're going to add fellowships to the companion app. They didn't show this. Most people have forgotten about the companion app, I think, but this is something that could potentially be good, but they didn't show it, so... Moving on! Umbrellas are going to be added, and they showed that. If you obtain an umbrella, it will be added as an action in the extra category. There will be more umbrellas added over time, and if it gets to be too many, they will make a special menu like they do for mounts, rather than stick everything into extra. Viera apparently hold the umbrellas higher so that their ears don't clip, and there will be shadows from the umbrella, and also the character's upper body is not going to get wet somehow, and yes, you can ride a mount while having an umbrella out. Other things that are not on here but were mentioned. There will be gpose updates so that you can save your favorite settings, specifically lighting, into a preset. They also didn't show any of the new expert recipes or the action changes for crafters and gatherers, but it was mentioned. Demimateria will also be adjusted. If you have a bunch of demimateria, and I think they're talking about the ones that aren't really used for much, sell them now because they're going to adjust the prices. And that was them saying, sell them now. So I'm guessing that means the prices are going to be lower than they are now. And I am happy to say that this is the end of all of the game-related stuff. Now it's all announcements for other things. So, FanFest! North America FanFest will now be in California and San Diego in order to accommodate twice the amount of attendees. The Japanese FanFest will also be at a different venue and will be about 1.5 times bigger. The European FanFest will be in London this time, and I know some of you are going to make a joke in the comments that, wait, is this really a EU FanFest because UK is no longer in the EU? This is a European FanFest, not a European Union. Please learn the difference. The UK is still in Europe, even if it's not in the Union. And there will be patch note readings with Yoshida on the 18th. This is Japanese only. There will not be any official translations. It's possible, maybe, Mogmog57 might cover this on Twitch. I don't know. And it's definitely possible that the Reddit Discord might translate anything that they feel is new. But then, if you wait a few more hours, you'll see the English one. There's also PAX East in, late February, early March. If you're going, cool. And some Japanese-only collaboration with a hotel that has a room theme based on Ilmeg, and it's apparently already fully booked. Cool. Also, the Primals is going to be performing live for a couple days in Tokyo. And with that, that's the end of this. And now comes the part where I tell you that if you enjoyed the video, blah 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 blah, there's a like button, dislike button, comments, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think, and I will see you for another video at some point. Bye bye!